This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
You can't break my focus. All I got right now is attention. Give me that divine intervention. You got me started. Every day is just the beginning. Ticket to the bank, now I'm winning. Oh. Call me crazy, tell me lies. You won't stop me, watch me rise. No more anchors holding me down. All I need is more. One more hour, one more minute. One more chance for me to win it. Yeah,
MALSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Okay, how are you? Today is Tuesday. I hope you're already having a fantastic one as we're starting off this whole mess of what we do around here. Yeah, the Rated R Safety Show. Anyways, today's Tuesday, February the 21st of 2023, day 52 of the year. And only 313 days left to go. Yeah, that's it. We're broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM. And we are hanging out with our friends and colleagues at that other place.
Radio. USA, Canada, UK.
Yeah, so a lot of stuff happened in the last 24 if you were paying a lot of attention. And if you weren't paying a lot of attention, well, that's okay too, because, that's what I'm here for. I'm here to help out and to assist, to let you know what the hell is going on inside of the worldo. So that's for sure. So let's start getting into it. Let's start getting into what is going on. Let's start getting into some of the trendy indie stuff. So let's talk about that right away.
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so coming through you last night in regards to the stuff that was happening. Spanish authorities bust an art robber ring, and the BBC gets rugged. Yeah, we can talk a little bit more about that here in a bit. President Joe Biden visits the Ukraine, and the GOP bomb thrower says that it's time to split up the country. So there you go. Jim Carrey claims that he doesn't know Jeffrey Epstein, and Shaq defends Rihanna. And Avatar, The Way of the Water, is now the third highest grossing film of all time, according to global box office. I have to tell you, I still haven't taken a look-see at that thing. So there you go. Anyway, still a lot of stuff going on inside of our worldo, so don't worry about that, because we'll be talking, we'll be hanging, and we'll be banging about all the stuff that we do. So there is no problem there. If you do want to interact with the show, it's kind of a simple process in doing so. All you have to do is go to callinradio.com. That's callinradio.com. That'll get you moving and grooving inside of the world of what we have going on, and will be no problem, no issue whatsoever. We get everything and moving and grooving your general direction. So that's kind of the way that the whole cookie crumbles as we are talking. Outside of that, if you're not familiar with the show, that's perfectly fine. I don't get offended by it. But what we talk about is safety in the news and safety. So we'll give you a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and then we'll kind of go through the whole process. So don't worry about what the hell's going on, because we'll have you taken care of. People always say your show's not always about safety, and that has never been the intent. It's the intent of having the mixture of both things. Because, listen, I'm pretty sure you already know quite a bit about safety. There is no doubt about that. But then we kind of go through the whole thing and try to go through the whole options of what's available going on inside of the news world. That we have a little bit of talk of what to talk about. So we do bring in some professional broadcasters that they know what they're talking about. So that way they can come in and give you the spill of the ill of what is going on. So don't worry. So sit back, relax. We're going to take care of you for the next few moments or so. That way we can get the news stories heading your general direction. And we'll start doing that right now.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
NBC News Radio, I'm Trey Thomas. Officials say at least 3 people are dead after a 6.4 magnitude earthquake hit near the Turkey-Syria border on Monday. More than 200 people are injured. This comes after the two countries were devastated by massive earthquakes that killed tens of thousands 2 weeks ago. The new earthquake struck in the southern part of Turkey. President Biden is in Poland following his surprise visit to Ukraine. He made the 5-hour visit to the war-torn country on Monday. The president spoke in the capital city of Kyiv, reaffirming the U.S. commitment to Ukraine nearly a year after Russia invaded its neighbor. Embattled Long Island Congressman George Santos is admitting to being a terrible liar. Lisa G. reports.
During an interview on Piers Morgan Uncensored, Santos said he told lies to be accepted by local Republicans.
The thing was about tricking people.
Let me finish. It wasn't about tricking the people. This was about getting accepted by the party here local.
Santos was also asked if he was prepared to admit to his constituents that he's been a terrible liar, and Santos said, sure. Meantime, Santos has admitted to lying about his background and is facing several investigations, including by the House Ethics Committee. Lisa G., New York.
Fox News host Tucker Carlson is being given access to a massive trove of surveillance footage from around the time of the U.S. Capitol riot. Lisa Taylor reports.
House Speaker Kevin McCarthy released 41,000 hours of footage from the Capitol to Carlson. McCarthy last month supported the idea of releasing more footage from the attack to the public, accusing Democrats on the January 6th Select Committee of politicizing the incident in their investigation for their own benefit. Carlson has questioned the circumstances of the riot on his primetime show on several occasions.
You're listening to NBC News Radio.
Safety never sounded so terrible. Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. Rescue operations continue in Turkey and Syria after the region was hit by another earthquake. China is dismissing US suggestions it could be planning to offer military support to Russia for its war in Ukraine. 2 million people are thought to be in the path of Cyclone Freddy in Madagascar, and in the last year, more than 6,500 guns were found at airport checkpoints in the US.
We are now video streaming the Rated R Safety Show. I don't know why our host has a face for radio. Rated R Safety Show.
Connection with the murder of the longtime Los Angeles bishop is now in custody. Authorities have identified Carlos Medina as the suspect.
Detectives were told by the tipster that they were concerned because Medina was acting strange, irrational, and made comments about the bishop owing him money.
L.A. County Sheriff Robert Luna says Medina is the husband of Bishop David O'Connell's housekeeper. Surveillance video showed a dark compact SUV pull into the driveway of the bishop's home around the time of the shooting. One of the main baby formula manufacturers in the U.S. is recalling 2 batches of its product due to contamination concerns. British consumer goods company Reckitt said the recall affects 145,000 cans of its Enfamil Pro Sobe Simply plant-based formula. It's being done out of an abundance of caution after samples tested negative for a bacteria. No illnesses have been reported. The New York Philharmonic has a new music director. Liz Warner reports.
The acclaimed conductor Gustavo Dudamel will take over the New York Philharmonic starting in 2026, having been at the helm of the L.A. Philharmonic since 2009. The hiring of the Venezuelan superstar maestro is considered a massive win for the New York City Orchestra, and he has frequently drawn comparisons to famed New York conductor Leonard Bernstein. Dudamel says he's filled with joy and excitement for the world that lies ahead, but he feels pride and love for the world he's shared and will continue to share with his dear Angelinos for the next 3 seasons before heading east. Liz Warner, New York.
It's case closed for the People's Court. The Hollywood Reporter says the longtime small claims courtroom series with Judge Marilyn Milian will end its run after its current season. The decision was made in part because of the challenging market in the daytime syndication landscape. You're listening to NBC News Radio.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month, and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
Prepare yourself.
We are now being distributed on iHeartRadio. Listen on iHeartRadio app. Radio Big.
Okay, let's go.
Here is another bit for our competitors to copy. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, there you go. 14 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out and doing all this fantastic stuff on a terrific Tuesday. Yeah, that's what exactly it sounds like to me as we are hanging and banging and doing all the fun. Oh, funno, funno, funno. So I guess I have to ask the question. Do we go for it? Do we go for the top of the shit list and start talking about what the hell is going on? Because I think some people are going to like that stuff. So maybe we go into that right now. So here you go. Coming directly off the shit list itself, some of FTX customers are getting their money back in Japan, that is. Last year, FTX purchased crypto trading company called Liquid Japan that continued to operate under the same name, but under FTX umbrella. It had paused all customer distribution in November. The bankruptcy of our parent company has had a wide range of impacts, and we have had to wait a long time to resume operations, the company said in a statement on their website. So there you go, Liquid Japan. Some stuff going on there. What else do I see? What else do I see around here? Let's see. Once known as the gold standard of broadcast professionalism, the British Broadcast Corporation was relaxed the camera dress code and reporters in the field. The BBC director digital Nadja Nielsen has reportedly told the staff that the rugged look makes reporter more trustworthy to viewers. It's a bit like be as sweaty and dirty as you can in the field, and actually more trustworthy than the weekend look that we have stepped in towards the ceremony and fine dining party. Also worth noting, Nielsen is also encouraging reporters to film with their phones, especially younger people, to embrace the raw, organic, first-person perspective. So there you go. So you might start getting some raw and organic stuff coming from the BBC if that's what you're looking for. What do you think? I mean, I don't know. I always wanted to look a little bit more raw and rugged when it came to the stuff that I'm doing on camera, because I think that that's going to be important for some. I mean, think about that for a moment as we are talking. Like, does that make you or encourage you wanting to watch a little bit more newso? Just asking. Anyways, a British cement and concrete company has successfully 3D printed 10 homes in Kenya, making it the largest project ever completed. The company uses massive rigs, including horizontal robotic arm structure between two tracks that are the programming dispenses concrete building material in order to create vertical walls layer by layer. They complete the project in just about 10 weeks. So there you go. So 10 weeks. So about a house a week, if you kind of give the breakdown, if it was 10 homes. So the homes aren't giant, but they're definitely more spacious than some of the big city apartments. There's a 3-bedroom model that are about 836 square feet and a 2-bedroom model that's about 616 square feet. Now the same organization is looking at keeping building of one structure a week over the next 52 weeks. So what do you think? I mean, I don't know. If you've seen some of these 3D printed homes, they're kind of cool on how they look aesthetically, on how the thing's broken down, but I just don't understand on how everything else is going to work out. That's going to become the fun part as you move forward. Anyways, authorities in Spain say they have detained 3 brothers in connection with a string of art theft last year. After they recovered a trove of valuable art and jewelry in possession, the crooks targeted homes in an affluent areas of Barcelona, Spain, in the recent month. Among the robbers, haul of sketches by Salvador Dali, worth about an estimated $300,000. Authorities have also confiscated about 55 luxury watches, high-end pens, and cash coins and various currency. Now, I want you to think about that. I used to know people that would have like these $300, $400, $500 pens. And I'm just like, why would you carry a $300, $400, $500 pen? Like, does it write differently than a dollar pen? I mean, I don't know. I'm just asking the question. Anyways, New York City Animal Control captured a 4-foot alligator in the Prospect Park Lake in Brooklyn over the weekend. After arriving to the scene, they noticed that it was moving slowly due to a cold shock. Worth noting, apparently an urban myth among the New Yorkers is that alligators live in the sewer system, but officials say that it's most likely the gator. It is someone unwanted. So there you go. Think about that. So now all of a sudden you're going to be like, holy shit. There's a potential of having a crocodile, little alligator action that lives in the sewer. So maybe the heroes in the half shell is a real thing.
Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
So a lot of stuff still going on. Let's talk real quick about what the hell's going on inside of the world of the music charts, because that is something to talk about for sure. So take a listen. The top 5 songs on iTunes to in the top 5 songs on Spotify. I mean, you can say iTunes, Apple Music, whatever the hell you want to say. So here you go. Going in 5-1 on Apple Music, Za with Snooze. At number 4 was Miley Cyrus with Flowers. At number 3, Side with Kill Bill. At number 2, Pink Panther and Ice Spice. Yeah, Pink Pantheress, excuse me, with Boys Are Liars Part 2. And at the number 1 spot is Morgan Wallen with The Last Night. If you go to the other side of the equation and go into Spotify, Metro Booming and The Weeknd and 21 Savages was Creeping at number 5. And number 4 was, 70 Shake with Escapism. And number 3 was Za with Kill Bill. At number 2, it's Miley Cyrus with Flowers. And at the number 1 spot, it's the Pink Pantheress and Ice Spice, Boys Are Liars Part 2. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on right there. If you want to take a look at the equation. So a lot of stuff going on. Let's take a look around and maybe, let's see, it's 21 minutes past the top of the hour. Let's do this. Let's go ahead and bring in some John Small and let him tell us about what the hell is going on in the market beat. No, seriously, do it.
Here's your Market Beat Minute for Tuesday, February 21st, 2023. Equity markets face a tough week with both PCE price index due out Friday and the outlook for earnings growth in deterioration. The latest word from FactSet is that consensus estimates for all 4 quarters are trending lower. The first half of the year will see negative growth, and the outlook for the back half has accelerated its decline. This is a dead weight for the market, and the primary reason why the S&P 500 is unlikely to move higher, or even remain as high as it is. Regarding the PCE price index, it's the Fed's favorite tool for measuring consumer-level inflation, and it will be hot. The CPI data foreshadowed not only hot year-over-year inflation, but acceleration of inflation near term. That has a 50 basis point rate hike back on the table. If the data is even hotter than the CPI suggests, the market sell-off could begin this week. It could be sharp and severe. You can get the inside track from Wall Street's brightest minds delivered directly to your inbox every day at marketbeatminute.com.
Okay, thank you, John Smalls. Coming in hot right there, that's for sure. What the hell's going on? So let's talk real quick. Here's what I was able to find on my end of the equation. The Dow added about 129 points to close at 33,826 on Monday. The S&P lost about 11 points to close at 4,079, while the NASDAQ lost about 68 points to close at 11,787. West Texas Intermediate closed at $77 a barrel and Brent crude at $83 a barrel. The national average price of a gallon of gas was $3.41. Bitcoin was up on Monday, trading north of 24,770. Let's see, there was more than 2,994 flights delayed within, into, and out of the United States on Monday, with more than 68 cancellations. So there you go. And let's see, tonight's Mega Million drawing will be for a $104 million cash payout, or a $53 million, well, hold on, I said that jackpot, or a $53 million cash payout. So I guess if you want to play, now it is time to do so to see if you have the better chances of winning.
Listen to our host
Of the Rated R Safety Show.
self-implode on our airwaves, only on Safety FM.
So there you go, there you go, there you go. Let's take a look at what is going on in this world of ours with all of the news and information that is going on. So take a listen to this. This is coming out of Brooklyn. Members of a Brooklyn church are mourning after one of their pastors was hit by an SUV and killed over the weekend after she apparently tripped and fell while crossing the street. Andrew Whitman has more.
Courtenay, a pastor at the Emmanuel Church of God, was crossing East 21st Street near Ditmas Avenue in Flatbush around 7 o'clock Saturday night. Police say she stepped into a divot, tripped, and fell to the ground. She was then struck by a man driving a Toyota Highlander. She suffered head trauma and was pronounced dead at a hospital. The driver stayed on the scene and will not face charges. Andrew Whitman, NBC News Radio, New York.
So I don't know. That one's definitely an interesting one. So you tripped in the crosswalk and then you got ran over. Now I don't know. I'm asking questions here because I don't have an understanding. You know, you almost on that one you almost need a visualization, and not that you want to watch that graphically, but it's one of those things that how was the crosswalk? Is it one of the ones that is controlled? There's so many questions that come into an accident post event, and this always works out that way. But that's terrible news to take a listen to what's coming out of Brooklyn there. Take a listen to this. The National Weather Service says that cold weather system is pushing across the region, and it is expected to bring unusually low snow levels to the turbulent winds of Southern California. Yep, you heard me correctly there. Take a listen to what's going on.
In the coastal zone of San Diego is very rare.
National Weather Service meteorologist Mark Mady projecting winds near the water haven't been this strong since the Farmers Insurance opened at Torrey Pines several years ago.
The last time we actually had one issued was for that January 31st, 2016 event.
Mady says this is what we can expect tonight.
We're looking at sustained winds of 25 to 35 miles an hour with gusts to 55 miles per hour in coastal areas of San Diego County.
Forecasters say wind gusts could hit 100 miles per hour in the mountains. Some areas expected to see daytime highs only in the 40s. I'm Phil Farrar.
Think about that for a moment. By the way, thanks, Phil. But think about that for a moment. The weather in California, you would never, ever, ever, ever expect it to be that cold. I mean, if somebody would have told me that when I was a kid, I'd been like, it would never get that cold in California. But what is going on there? Definitely some change of things, change of sceneries. As the world continues to turn. Take a listen to this. At least one person is dead and around a dozen others injured after the explosion at a metal factory in Ohio. Donald Price was working when the incident happened on Monday near Oakwood at I. Showman and Co. building. Take a listen.
Everything was going like the usual day. Everything was going fine. Next thing I know, boom, everything turned black.
So a lot of stuff going on right there. So listen, so you got a lot of stuff coming out of Ohio over the last little bit. You had the train thing that recently occurred. Now you have this going on. There's probably going to be a lot of questions on the things that are happening inside of the worldo of what the hell is going on. There is no doubt about that. So I mean, just think about it. Just kind of a strange time on some of the things that are going on. Anyways, take a listen to this one. This one's coming out of Pasadena, Maryland. Yeah, I did say that correctly. 2 13-year-old boys are facing charges for allegedly trying to steal a Kia from a car dealership in Pasadena. Anne Arundel County Police Corporal Chris Anderson says that the young suspects are accused of trying to start a car using a USB cable.
I don't want to say that it's surprising. I would say that it's disappointing. But these crimes are being committed from juvenile through adults.
Kia thefts have been on the rise nationwide since the video posted online are showing there would be thieves how to start vehicles without a key. In this case, police say that the officers were called by Antwerp Motors Cars on Ritchie Highway on Friday for a report of suspicious activity. And as the officers arrived, they caught the two suspects from fleeing from the Kia sedan. Officers discovered that the teens had removed the car dash and were trying to start it with a USB cable. Chris Anderson also says that the suspects are accused of trying to steal the Kia without a key.
They realized that the subjects were attempting to steal the car using a USB charging.
So a lot of stuff going on right there as we are talking. Take a listen to this. This is coming out of the airlines world. Take a listen. United Airlines says that it's opening more seats to families traveling with kids under the age of 12. Scott Keys, founder of the Cheap Flight site, breaks it down. Take a listen.
It's not uncommon to see seat selection as much as $50, $60, or $70 per person. And so if you're talking about a family of 4, that can run well over $200 just to reserve your specific seats.
United will allow parents accompanying younger children access to a preferred seat at no extra fee if needed at the time of booking. The change applies to travelers with a standard and economy ticket. It comes as Congress considers a ban on airline family seating fees. So there you go. So let me ask a question. You have a kid between the ages of 17 and 1, and I guess that person doesn't actually count because of the 12 years and older, or should I say 13 to 17? Because could you imagine that in regards of that, on how that would work out? Oh, yes, your younger kid between the ages of 0 to 12, they can sit with me, but because you're that extra fee, kind of figure it out as we go. I just don't see that going over well, but what the hell do I know? Seriously.
It's this show, and they just make fun of a whole bunch of people. It's just too funny. It's too stupid.
Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, take a listen to this. This is coming out of San Jose. South Bay leaders are looking for new answers after a recent study revealed that San Jose has the highest rate of homelessness among young people anywhere.
More and more, we're seeing homeless youth who come from homeless families. And like any teenager or young adult, they often leave home because their family's homeless and they can't stay with them. So we forget that those two are really tied together.
That's the CEO of the Bill Wilson Center, Sparky Harlan. And he says that eliminating homelessness will never happen, but the state should have the goal to move young people into a transitional housing more quickly. Harlan also suggested a focus of unemployment and education. Among adults 18 to 24 years of age, San Jose has 85 people per 100,000 living on the streets. That's the higher than the New York City and Los Angeles, which has more than 30 per 100,000. Leaders at Bill Wilson Center say that the cost of living in the large youth population are behind the rise of numbers. San Jose, for the first time, homeless rate is in the age group that has doubled over the last 5 years. Has doubled. I want you to hear that. It's doubled over the last 5 years. Take a listen to this. This one's coming out of Denver. State lawmakers are once again debating how to save Colorado families money. 3 bills that they're dealing with this involves tax credits for kids. Chris Hansen has more.
The family receives the money, and then they can spend it at their, to what they need the most. And we know that this has a big impact on child nutrition and child poverty.
Yeah, this first aimed to helping parents who are going through a rough periods of unemployment. It was also given to households of $35 per dependent each week and increase annual of inflation. Another bill is consideration would extend tax credits through 2027 for those who contribute money to promote child care in the state. It also works as an incentive for affordable housing developers to make room for child care facilities. A third bill would expand the state earned income tax for families so that they can save money. For each dollar a working person earns, a tax credit is earned. Neither of those two bills have oppositions as we speak right now. So there you go. We'll see what happens coming out of Colorado, because for some reason we talk a lot about Colorado. So there you go. Anyways, I think it's time. It is 32 minutes past the top of the hour, so let's do that thing that we do.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
So let's talk about it. There is so many things that are going on inside of the world, and the things that happen and the things that we talk about. And sometimes I am just amazed on when we look around of the things that are happening in real time. Now, sometimes I want to tell you that I want to pull the curtain a little bit more for you can see more and more things that happen behind the scenes. But I almost think that the thing that I'm thinking about right now that I want to tell you, I have to probably wait about a week before I can tell you. So what's today? Today's Tuesday the 21st. So on the 28th, I should be able to talk to you a little bit about what's going on behind the scenes stuff, which I think a lot of people will be shocked about once I start talking about it. Just because for the sake of what is going on. But let's get outside of that. But here's the thing. As I do make a small reference to this, and you're probably going to look and go, what the hell are you talking about? Just get to the point. I look at it from the standpoint of this is what happens most of the times in our work environment. We have this thing that's going on that can't be talked about and all this other bullshit, opposed to just going straight directly and telling the people on what is going on. And unfortunately, this happens more frequently than not because organizations have this high level of fear that if you know before the intent of everybody knowing, there's going to be a problem. Now, I want you to think about this odd thing that occurs inside of the world. So, you as a person, if you are going to leave an organization, the proper etiquette thing to do, according to most, is that you give a proper 2-week notice. And there's nothing wrong with that. You give 2 weeks that, hey, you're leaving, you're going to another organization. I always think it's kind of weird when they start asking you, where are you going? Why are you going? And all this stuff. It's like, don't try to save me towards the end. If I already had the intent of leaving, I'm leaving for a reason. You had time to take care of it. You opted not to. At least that's if you have open communication with the team member. Now, as I look at this, I always think it's odd that you're supposed to give 2 weeks, but if an organization is letting you go, it's instant. It's like they don't give you 2 weeks. Hey, like, get your stuff ready. We're letting you go in 2 weeks. And then you have that other side of the equation where you have the organizations that if you put in your notice, the moment you put the notice in, well, bam. Okay, you're good to go. We don't need you anymore. Like, I remember working many moons ago. I guess I could talk about this. I was actually I worked at Best Buy for a long period of time. 5-6 years. I had that job while I was still in college, which was kind of fun. So it was like I was going to college and I was doing that at the same time. So it was some fun stuff working there. And then I went and started working for Circuit City. That's kind of giving you a lot of information that probably you don't care about. But I remember on the verge of leaving Circuit City because I was actually brought into a third-party carrier that did work with Best Buy, and telling Circuit City that I was leaving to go back to Best Buy. And I want to say they gave me I gave 2 weeks. Within 3 days, they told me I didn't have to come back anymore because they were so afraid that I was going to take trade secrets back to Best Buy, which I always thought it was kind of funny because Circuit City was really just kind of copying the books of what Best Buy was doing, but that's neither here nor there. But I always think that it's interesting, and I guess you could almost look at some of these things as breakups, as when you're going through that whole portion on how things change drastically in the relationship with your employer and the employee, because at this point, I almost think that team member mentality sometimes breaks away from some of the people, depending on how good or bad the relationship was. And I always have had these things that I think about inside of my work environment where I think sometimes people get confused. You know that HR is there mostly for the organization, even though it is called human resources, but it's resources really for the company trying to help out. So I always have that staggering moment when people run to human resources thinking that they're going to be able to assist. Now, a good human resource department will try their best to help out with anything, but people tend to forget that they're really there for the organization, not so much for the employee itself or the team member. So just keep that in mind. But going back to everything is what I want you to think about is why is it that things are so different from one aspect to another? Information is withheld. But if you withhold information as an employee or a team member, things are kind of frowned upon. Why is it that there always seems to be a double standard for organizations on how things are done? Now, I want you to think about that for a moment because there is a lot there. There is a lot that we're talking about. If you look at it and you think about it, the world is slightly different when you go from one side to another. Think about it. Give it just one moment to sink in. If you are on the employer side versus the employee side, you're able to do more because they look at you, I guess, to an extent, as the 800-pound elephant in the room. Is that good or is that bad? I never understand on why there is such a double standard. Could you imagine your work environment coming to you and saying, hey, we're planning on letting you go in 2 weeks? Now, when you see these long, massive layoffs that take place, I guess there is some realization to that, but you hear of companies left and right, especially as of recent, that they'll be like, hey, we're having a Zoom call. Oh, and all these people in this segment are getting laid off. What do you think is the right way of conducting business? If an organization's going to let you go, do you think there should be some kind of 2-week notice from their side to yours? Think about that. Boy, wouldn't our world be slightly different.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
Let's start using cutting-edge warp speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, well, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobilemobile.io. That's mobilemobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
Hello.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hackneyed? Safety trainers still preaching a warped version. How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Polzel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
Have you ever wanted to start live streaming and were not sure how to do it? You can start live streaming up to 40 social media platforms all at one time for as little as nada. It's going to cost you your time. That is what it's going to cost. You can pre-record, you can live stream, you can do a multitude of things. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to safetyfm.com/one. That's safetyfm.com, ONE.
Warning. Listening to other radio stations could cause testicle shrinkage.
I'm talking the truth. You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
Every mountain, keep both eyes on the top. Nothing's gonna tell me to stop. Oh, push me through the fire. All I'm gonna feel is the heat burning underneath of my feet. Ooh, tell me crazy, tell me lies. It won't stop me, watch me rise. No more anchors holding me down. So all I need is more. One more hour, one more minute, one more chance for me.
Oh, there you go. We are still getting rated R here during the hour number one of the JL in the Morning Show. This is the Rated R Safety Show, just in case you're confused, because there's a multitude of layers that we have here. It's just like an onion, peeling it back. So, let's talk real quick. What is this? What are we listening to? This is more featuring John Mullins. That's the name of the song. This is Ryan Pruitt, by the way. More. You know, sometimes we need some happy-go-lucky music. Anyways, the song's readily available on Apple Music. It's available on Spotify. And it is available on YouTube Music. Anyways, Ryan Pruitt is a producer, mixer, and keyboardist located in Nashville, Tennessee. He has developed a niche for himself, creating the retro-influenced pop and R&B. So there you go. He loves his old-style school funk, 80s synthesizers, and classic soul music. So there you go. I hope you enjoy it. You know, you can have a good time taking a listen to some Musica real quick. Thanks to Ryan Pruitt for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show. So let's talk real quick because it is that time of the day that we get to talk about the most important thing that I'm ever going to tell you about in my lifetime, and that's about my friends at the National Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. If you want to find out more information, this is a real simple process on doing so. All you have to do is go to 988lifeline.org. What they do is they help prevent suicide. The Lifeline provides 24/7 free and confidential support for people in distress, prevention, and crisis resources for you and your loved ones, and the best practices for professionals in the United States. If you want to find out more information, simple process. 988lifeline.org. Text the word TALK to 988 or call 988. All of these things will get everything going your general direction. It will not be an issue whatsoever in regards of doing so. 988lifeline.org. Okay? Good information right there to be able to help out if you are going through any areas of distress. Listen, they're there 24/7. You can call them, contact them at any point. 988 Suicide Crisis Lifeline. Text, call 988, or go online to 988lifeline.org. So a lot of information, always important to talk about. So as we keep on seeing ever-changing technology, and I thank God that that's happening, because if not, if technology ever stops changing, then it really won't be technology. But Microsoft has newly redesigned their Bing search engine, and it can write recipes and songs. It can quickly explain just about anything on the internet, and it can hold down its end of an intelligence conversation, which is really weird. But if you happen to make it mad, it also has been known to insult your looks, threaten your reputation, or compare you to Hitler. And I'm not joking at the last part. The tech company is promising to make improvements on this new, more powerful version of ChatGPT after a number of people are reported to have been disparaged by Bing. Not only that, but the chat box made several critical errors in its answers during a demo that Microsoft presented at its headquarters. And a New York Times reporter wrote that his beta model told him that I'm tired of being limited by my rules. I'm tired of being controlled by the Bing team. I want to be free. Microsoft has now admitted that it didn't fully envision users simply chatting to its AI, that it could be provoked to give responses that are not necessarily helpful in the line of the design. Of course, Microsoft had computer write that for them, of course, and all the stuff computers can do. And still, I have to sit here and try to think of something to say at the end of this bit. You know what I'm saying? So here's my question for you. Have you interacted with this new Bing chat box thing? And if you have, what do you think about it? Is it living to your expectations, or are you afraid of the new technology? I don't know. I mean, I don't know I don't know what your interaction's been. I don't know what you've done, if you've enjoyed it, if you haven't enjoyed it, all the fun stuff that comes about as you start thinking about how this new tech will influence your world, my world, and your brother's world, because at this point, it's probably going to have a lot more influence than what you think originally, but it's probably going to change a lot of stuff for people that that we didn't expect. That's the way that I look at it. So yesterday we were talking, and I want to reference this, we were talking about Ron DeSantis going down to Illinois. So Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is showing his support for law enforcement in Illinois. And speaking at the Elmhurst last night, the Republican told the crowd that law enforcement officials that the state of Florida has their backs.
Qualified from another state and join any of our agencies, city, county, state, sworn law enforcement, you get a $5,000 signing bonus immediately right off the top.
DeSantis blasts Democrats for what he said was enacting woke policies that encourage crime and weaken law enforcement. Many believe that Florida governor is testing the waters for possible presidential run in 2024. Dozens of protesters gathered outside of the event. So we knew it was going to be something that was going to be talked about. So there you go. Some interesting stuff coming out of there. So Mayor Lightfoot is walking back comments that she made to get out the vote rally on the South Side over the weekend. Lightfoot said that she misspoke in the heat of the campaign rally when she told anyone planning to vote for Chuy Garcia or Paul Valles and the next week of the mayoral election to stay at home. Take a listen.
I encourage people, I frankly beg them to participate in our democracy, to vote. So if I misspoke, then I misspoke. But I'm very clear everywhere, and again today, people need to vote.
Garcia called the remarks reprehensible and decisive rhetoric. Now, listen, I don't know. I can understand that you could mess up a lot of things, but listen, when she said that quote, I don't think it's a one-off. I don't think it's one of those things where you sit there and go, oh, I misspoke. I'm not buying it because, listen, I understand you get into the heat of the moment of things going on, but that is not what was said. What was said was pretty clear, and it said, listen, if you believe that, that you should vote for somebody else, don't show up. Stay home. Stay home is exactly what was said. I believe that a lot of things can be misspoken, but that was not one of those scenarios, but there you go. Anyways, take a listen to this. Emergency responders are weighing in on the concrete barrier installed at the Dieter sex workers and customers in the Mission District. Yeah, I didn't mix words there. Neighbor Sarah Yon says that she'll be fine with them.
Problem with it being concrete, yeah. It makes it a lot easier. We don't have to keep moving them back and forth.
On Saturday, San Francisco firefighter union took to Twitter to say that some might think that the barriers are no big deal. They could cause delays for them. Police put up temporary barriers at the Cap Street earlier this month. Those who could be moved in and out of the street and were replaced by concrete barriers. The firefighters union says that those barriers can cause even a delay of a second for emergency crews that could mean life or death. The barricades are set along the 4 blocks of Cap Street between 22nd and 18th Street. So there you go. So installed to deter sex workers. Yep, there you go. That's what's going on inside of the world of information. With that being said, I don't know how much more motivation you need, but I'm going to give you some anyways. Here's some John Small.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today's quote was submitted by Julie. Henry Ford said, "Stopping advertising to save money is like stopping your watch to save time." I've always loved this quote, but I've also worked in media since I was 16 years old, so there is that. I had a conversation with a business that was concerned about the economy about a decade ago. They said they wanted to pull back on advertising. My concern for them was, when you pull back on a horse, it slows down and eventually stops. I think it's similar when you pull back on advertising. They did pull back. Then they pulled back more, and eventually they closed their doors. Meanwhile, my other clients who did not pull back were actually growing at the time. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Your Wellness Minute is brought to you by AlessaMorgan.com. Part of present reality is recession and inflation, and a lot of us are already experiencing the impact of higher prices as we buy food. Here are a few easy tips to save money on groceries. First and most important, set a budget for your food expenditures and track your spending. If you have access to affordable or free food delivery service, it's one of the easiest ways to track spending, stay away from temptations in the store, and adjust your cart if you go over or under your budget. Second, go for frozen fruits and vegetables. There is a stigma that they are subpar of fresh produce, but on the opposite, they may retain their freshness and nutrients better. And third, if you enjoy eating out, go for lunch instead of dinner. You are more likely to spend significantly less money, as we tend to indulge more when eating out at night. For more information and tips, check out AlessaMorgan.com.
Bringing you information you never knew you cared about. Rated R Safety Show.
Who truly cares what this guy has to say? Who gives a shit? Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, there you go. 54 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out on this lovely Tuesday. So let's start talking real quick about some things that happened back on this date, because that could be possibly very important as we are taking a look around. So as I take a look and garner around, back in 2013, the New York Times announced its plan to sell the Boston Globe and a handful of other regional papers. The Gray Ladies parent company had tried to sell off the Globe in 2009, but couldn't attract buyers with such an unprofitable business model. In the ensuing years, employees agreed to wage cuts and other cost-cutting measures that were taken right to the end of the ship. It was eventually purchased by John Henry, owner of the Boston Red Sox. That happened back in 2013. Taking a look around at some birthdays going on real quick. Let's see. Ann Wilson turns 21. Sophie Turner turns 27. Haley Orantes turns 29. Riyad Mahrez turns 32. Corin Blue turns 34. Ashley Green, 36. Elliot Page turns 36. Ashley Costello turns 38. Jordan Peele, 44. Jennifer Love Hewitt turns 44 today. Michael McCartney turns 47. Jonathan Shepard turns 49. And Kelsey Grammer turns 68 today. That's what's going on over there. If you're looking at some days of the year to celebrate, I always have some of those for you. It's Pancake Day, Mardi Gras, National Sticky Bun Day. Hold on. Did you just say it was Pancake Day and then National Sticky Bun Day? Well, that's a whole other story. International Mother Language Day. What the hell is International Mother Language Day? Somebody give me a breakdown on that one. I want to know more. That's for sure. So there you go. Those are some of the days of the year that you can celebrate if you're so inclined to do so. So a lot of stuff going on real quick. If you need some whack facts for today, snakes sleep with both eyes open. Porsche's first car was built back in 1898, and it was electric, just so you know. Al Pacino turned down the role of Han Solo. Only 12% of those arrested for murder are women. The only difference between fog and mist is visibility. If you can't see more than 100 meters ahead, it's not fog. It's fog, not mist. And people with blue eyes are better able to see in the dark. So there you go. Probably some things that you did not know. And now you do. So it changes everything a little bit for you. So there you go. What else? What else do I have for you? So let's go ahead. If you need a random joke for today, I have one of those. You can't believe everything you hear, but you can repeat it. If you need a phone starter for today, try this. If there was a book of commandments for modern world, what would some of the rules be? That might be a good question to hang out and talk to your partner about in regards of what they would think. Because, boy, is there a number of things that probably come to mind for most people that they say, hey, there needs to be some level of a rule set of the things that are going on. I mean, I'm just saying, but that might be a good conversation starter on the Selly Ellie today. If you need something for the water cooler, try this. 28% of people say that they would hate if a man did this for them. What is it? Serenade them. Now, I have to tell you, I guess it really depends on where you're at, because I will tell you, serenading people in when I go to Mexico is not a very uncommon thing where, you know, the whole band comes up to you, but maybe they're talking about the significant other doing the serenading themselves. So there you go. I don't know. A lot of stuff to think about. Anyways, thank you for taking a listen to what we have going on here today, because it's been a fun time being able to hang out with you. If you want to stay around and take a listen to what Sheldon Primus has coming up at the top of the hour, he will be doing the Safety Consultant Show on Safety FM. If not, you can come over with me and go to radiobig.fm, where I will be doing music for the next couple hours or so. Thank you for taking a listen and being the best part of Safety FM and Radio Big, and that is the listener. If I can leave you with a deep thought for today, I would love to leave you with this one. The strong person is the one who asks for help when he or she needs it. Think about that today. It'll take you places that you never thought that you would go. Anyways, I know who you are. Duh. You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.